Welcome to another episode at Rust Admin Academy, where I teach you all of the insider tips and tricks to owning and operating your own successful Rust server. If you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notification bells so that you get notified as soon as I upload a new video. I'm always adding more and more to the library of tutorials that I'm putting out for you guys. In today's discussion, we're going to be talking about a plugin from Umod called Timed Execute. I'm going to show you guys what you can do with it and how it might be a potential benefit to your server, and we're going to get started on that right now. Here we are at our typical landing desktop when we want to be installing plugins into our server. If you haven't seen my video yet on how to actually download and install plugins, make sure you click the YouTube card in the top right hand corner right now, but make sure you come back after and finish watching this video where I'm going to show you everything about Timed Execute. Here's the default config file for Timed Execute after we've installed it onto our server. And as you can see, all of the features at the top, the 4 different timers that this plugin can control are all activated from default, as you can see by the true next to the top 4 lines of the config. You would use this plugin when you want to automate a process. And there's thousands of different things that you can automate in your server using Timed Execute. So things like automatically restarting your server every day at a specific time, or calling in a heli at a specific time during the day, or calling in the CH47. Whatever it is that you want to automate, you want to call a command and you want the plugin to just execute it for you automatically so that you don't have to intervene in any way. Well, this is the way to do it. So let's break down each individual timer. So the in-game timer is a timer that monitors what time it is inside the game. So it's following your game clock, not real-time clock. Okay, so anything that you want to execute at a specific time throughout your game day, you can use this section to put in whatever command you want. From default, you'll see that they have at 1 o'clock, they want to turn the rain on. This is just an example. You can, of course, delete this out and have it do whatever it is that you want it to do. The reason why they're putting this in there is just to show you the formatting of the time and then the command that you want to execute. So, in-game timer, pretty straightforward. It's monitoring your in-game time and it's going to execute whatever command you put in these lines at whatever time it is that you specify. The second timer is monitoring real time. So it uses the time of the computer that is actually hosting your server. So if you want something to happen at a specific time in real time, you would use this timer right here. And a really good example of that is the restart command. So this isn't from default. I've added this in already, but this is what it looks like. If you want to have your server automatically restart at 6 a.m. every morning of real time, not game time, that's what this line right here will do. So at 6 a.m. it's going to execute the restart command on your console, and it's going to start the 5-minute timer like I'm sure you've seen before. And once it reaches 0, it's going to restart your server. Or I should specify, it's going to shut down your server unless you have a restart loop on your batch file. If you have a restart loop, then it's going to unload all of the plugins and reload everything and restart your server very, very smoothly. So that's a huge caution that I have to make sure you understand, is if you don't have a restart loop written into your batch file, it's not going to automatically restart. It's just going to terminate your server and shut it down and not restart it. So this is kind of set up like a stopwatch. So when the plugin is first initialized, it's going to start a countdown timer. So if we were to use this top example right here, 60 seconds after the plugin is initialized, it's going to execute this command right here and display this message right here. 120 seconds after the timer is initialized, it's going to execute this line right here. So I can't really think of anything off the top of my head right now that you would want to execute in this type of a scenario, but I know that there are things out there. I just can't think of one right now. And then we can also reset this timer at a specific interval on the same stopwatch. I feel like I'm not doing a very good job of explaining this timer, and it's because I don't have an example of a real life situation where you might use this section of timer, so I apologize for that. So the timer repeat section is, again, very self-explanatory. All this is a countdown, so it's going to count down for 300 seconds and then it's going to execute whatever this command is right here. And we can put in whatever we want there. So right now this 300 seconds right here equals 5 minutes. So let's say we wanted to save our server every 5 minutes, well, we could just put in the save command on that line and leave the timer at 5 minutes, and every 5 minutes it'll automatically save our server. Which, by the way, I will mention, every 5 minutes is way too often, because saving your server is taxing on your resources, and your players are going to feel every 5 minutes when the server saves. It's going to lag for a split second. So the reason why I wanted to explain how to install time to execute and kind of give you the lay of the land of the actual plugin itself was because I want to teach you guys how to control attack helis, CH-47, a couple of different things that you want to automate on your server that maybe they aren't happening often enough by default, so we can actually force this stuff to happen using this plugin. So stay tuned, because we're going to set it up on our test server so that we can automatically call a heli and a CH-47 probably every, well, for the demonstration purposes, every couple of seconds. So stay tuned for that video. That's it for this video. I hope it was helpful. Make sure you check out the other 2 videos that I posted here, and if you haven't yet, make sure you click on the round circle to subscribe to the channel. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next video.